Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Now, those of you that have followed the channel for a while will already know what's coming in this video, but for those that are dropping by for the first time, we'll be covering some of the most popular mods on the Steam Workshop that are currently making the rounds with Project Zomboid players. These are some of the best mods to try in recent months, and every single mod in this video will be linked in a handy mod pack in the description. So if you find a mod to try in this video, or you just enjoy watching, drop the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more just like this one. Alright, so first on today's list of mods to try is the Radiated Zones mod. This adds 20 different zones to the map that are, as the name suggests, heavily irradiated, meaning you'll either need to avoid them entirely or ensure you have adequate protection in the form of a hazmat suit or iodine pills. The mod comes with a built-in radiation accumulation system, complete with radiation sickness, and even some functional Geiger counters to help detect radiation zones. Now, from what I've seen in the workshop description and some investigating in-game, I haven't seen any increase of loot spawns inside these zones, but it does add an interesting level of difficulty to exploration, and I think this could be combined with some other mods to make for some incredibly cool scenarios, especially in the late game. Next up, we've got a mod I think a lot of people will be adding to almost every playthrough once they see it in action. It just fits into almost every game because of how much sense it makes. This is the Functional Appliances mod, which really does exactly what the title suggests, but to a level that I think you'll be impressed with. This mod turns otherwise non-functional machinery around the map, such as hot dog machines and bar taps, into fully functional pieces of equipment that can help with survival. This encompasses everything from giving popcorn machines the ability to turn instant popcorn packets and corn kernels from Saf's cooking mod into edible popcorn, to wall clocks actually displaying the time accurately rather than being decorative elements. It even extends as far as food display counters having temperature gauges for hot, warm, or cold food. Now, I can't possibly hope to cover every single feature in this mod because it does go into quite a lot of detail, but I can't recommend this one enough, especially if you're looking for extra levels of realism or you're a fan of roleplay servers. Another mod that pairs very nicely with this one is working air conditioners, which works in a very similar vein to the last mod. If an AC unit is mounted to the side of a building, you'll be able to use that device to either cool or heat the room on the other side of the wall, which can play especially nice with mods like Cryogenic Winter or Atomic Summer that put a strain on the player using extreme temperatures. Now, it's been a little while since Halloween, but that doesn't mean we can't throw in the odd spooky mod here and there, right? This next mod is going to make your close encounters much more frightful. This is Occult Zombies, which provides 14 unique custom skins for zombies that focus on making them a bit more reminiscent of Lovecraftian horror media. Tentacles, warped and mangled flesh. Yes, it's completely visual and no mechanical changes are present in this one, but it does make things genuinely scary, especially when you're in confined spaces, so this mod could fit nicely into any horror-themed mod pack. So that's spooky zombies, but what about some groovy ghoulies? Now, when I saw this mod, I just absolutely had to include it. There's nothing more that I need to say about this one other than showing you this clip. Yeah, that's all the mod does, and I'm absolutely okay with it. Next up, I've got one for all you base building fanatics out there that like to put all your effort into the ultimate safe house. There's been a bunch of extra building and design mods over the years with Project Zomboid, so today I'm bringing to the table a mod that will no doubt take a firm place on that list. The Greenhouse Building Set mod adds a variety of different greenhouse designs to allow players to build some suitable housing for their crops to suit their wildest gardening dreams. Crops can be planted inside these structures and grown just like they're outside, which is a major positive for anyone hoping to use them functionally too. Alright, so we've had some quality of life mods, some that change visuals, and mechanical mods too, but something we haven't had just yet in this video is map mods. Let's change that with this next one. This is one that was made by a good friend of mine, Simon MD. Now, Simon has made a few smaller maps for our whitelisted Patreon server in the past, some event maps that focus on a defendable area to withstand waves of attacks, and locations that act as settlements. But this one is without a doubt the biggest I've seen from him, and it's a really spectacular map. This is Louisville International Airport. Aside from some very unique designs in that there's, well, actual aeroplanes on the airstrip itself, you can also enter them and actually walk around inside the cabin. I just appreciate this one because it's done something entirely unique, and that's hard to do with modded maps these days. I felt like Louisville has been missing something for a little while now, and this map definitely fills that gap for me. When you do decide to head on over and explore this location though in your games, do make sure you bring plenty of ammo because it can be pretty busy here, as you'd expect an airport to be in the zombie apocalypse. Now, sticking with map mods, next up we've got something a little more traditional in the modded map Lievenberg. This map occupies a popular space for map mods just over the river from Riverside itself, so do keep in mind that there may be some conflicts with this one, meaning that you won't be able to run it alongside any other map mods that are situated here in this area. Lievenberg sticks pretty close to a lot of the design principles from the vanilla game, so buildings aren't going to look out of place or feel like they don't belong. In fact, it doesn't use any custom tile packs at all, like many map mods do. Everything comes from the base game's construction assets. Still, there's some pretty cool locations to check out, like high-rise apartments linked by sky bridges, overrun military bases formed during the outbreak, and even a secret military bunker to explore. This map isn't anything groundbreaking or unique for Project Zomboid, but it makes a fantastic map to try if you're looking for a town to occupy and otherwise empty space, whilst fitting perfectly with the existing towns and cities. Alrighty, so let's take a break from map mods for a little bit, and I've got one or two more before we wrap up later on in the video. The next mod I've got for you guys in this one is On the Door, which I think many of you will be surprised by. This is something a lot of Project Zomboid players don't know, but basically, there's a small chance for cars to spawn with keys in the door of the vehicle. Now, we can't search doors, and for that reason, these often get overlooked, and you'll never know the key is actually there. You can only retrieve the key by getting into the vehicle, locking the doors from the inside, getting out again, and trying the doors until you find the one with the key in it. Of course, this only really works for unlocked vehicles. It's fair to say this is a bit of a hassle and not a particularly obvious way of acquiring keys. So with the mod On the Door, it will actually give you a notification if a key is found in one of the doors of the vehicle when trying to enter it. And if there is one, it will immediately acquire the key and put it into your inventory so you don't have to go through the motions checking for it on every single door like you would usually. So super small mechanics change, but one that can improve your quality of life in Kentucky exponentially. And if you don't know that piece of info about car keys being indoors, now you do. Okay, now we're going to have a new map coming up soon, and I thought I'd include one particular mod to pair with these new maps I'll cover in this video, which helps to make exploring a little bit more practical. The Project Zomboid map is an incredible tool, but it's fairly limited when it comes to symbols that you can drop on the map itself. So, the Add More Map Symbols mod does exactly what it says on the tin and brings in a bunch of new symbols, and some additional filtering options to sort through them as well. There should be something in here for every single building or point of interest that you could have in mind. Seriously, there is a whole page full of markers in this mod, and it can be awesome for people that like to play cartographer in all of their runs by marking stuff across the map. Next on the list, I've got one for all you homebodies in Project Zomboid that like to spend your time back at base cooking up meals for your group of friends and taking care of all your stockpiling. This is the mod Big Size Spice, and if you ever felt like spice containers in Project Zomboid, like salt and pepper shakers, weren't quite large enough, then this mod is for you. It adds a large variation of all of these spices, as well as boxes of bottled items like olive oil, with several bottles in each box. Not only that, but the mod comes with an add-on which can also offer dried fruit and vegetables. All you'll need is the magazine to teach your character about drying out foods, and then a knife to cut them up and prepare them. From there, just leave the fruit to dry out, nice and simple. And I'm no expert, I'd assume this isn't the way that it's done in reality, but even so, it offers a good solution for all those fruits you might have that are about to go bad, as well as giving you a way to keep certain foodstuff long term without the use of a fridge or freezer. Alright, so far this video has been distinctly lacking in the weapons department, but we're about to change that with the next mod. This is the Simple Overhaul Melee Weapons mod. Now, it's fair to say that this isn't just your average weapons mod, and the modder has outdone themselves in tackling a variety of improvements and adjustments with weapons, as well as adding their own to the mix. The weapons that have been added are completely lore-friendly, being stuff that easily fits into the game rather than being some outlandish new space weapon. Just a few examples include things like entrenching shovels, ice axes, barbed wire, baseball bats, and more. There's a pretty long list of new additions, and I couldn't possibly hope to cover them all, so it's worth having a look around some of these weapons for yourself if you plan to give the mod a try. Not only does this mod add new stuff though, it remodels existing weapons, fixes various blood meshes that don't appear correctly on certain weaponry, and brings in some new icons too. In short, this is a full weapons overhaul that you can see has taken a serious amount of work, and for that reason, it's got a firm place in this video as something I'd recommend for all playthroughs. Now, moving away from weapons for the next one, have you ever found it a bit weird that your character starts in a zombie outbreak having done zero preparation despite the fact literally everyone else has been turned into mindless undead? Well, with the mod Immersive Barricaded Start, that's no longer the case. You can choose to spawn in a building that has been appropriately barricaded as per the quarantine instructions provided by the government during the early stages of the outbreak. You'll also spawn with a hammer, which granted will do next to no damage, but will allow you to pry off the barricades from your door to ensure you can exit the building. There's a chance to find some extra items lying around in your spawn building to make it seem more lived in as well, which is a really nice touch. To top it off, you'll spawn with a can of food or two based on the food rarity level you've set in your sandbox options. So yeah, if you want your character to start an apocalypse proper, this is definitely a mod to try in your next run. Okay, so we're down to the last two mods for today's video, both of which will be map mods, starting off with Secret Z Pandemic. Now, the Secret Z mods have been around for a while, but this one is a bit more recent. This is essentially a combination of all of the secret military bases, checkpoints, and camps that are added through the rest of the Secret Z mods. In total, there are 8 military checkpoints, 4 modified map areas, and 4 hidden bunkers or laboratories. The mod is fantastic for anyone that's looking for something else to do in the late game stages of Project Zomboid, giving you high population areas to clear out and explore that are often packed with weapons and ammunition too, as well as some very neat little stories to be told through world design. Now that brings us to the last mod for today's video, and I think it's fair to say I've saved one of the best until last with this one. This is Copper State, Arizona. It's a standalone map that aims to be the first desert map brought to Project Zomboid. If you're looking for a complete change of scenery, this is definitely a map mod to try. There's some work going on for the mod at the moment to add more towns to the map itself. At the time of this video, the modder is working on a location known as Wickenburg. The map offers some challenge spawns as well as the regular selection, such as a spawn inside a prison, an aeroplane crash site, and a middle of nowhere spawn. The modder also mentions on their workshop page that they're a big fan of Breaking Bad, so they've included a few Easter eggs from the show that can be found around the map itself if you look hard enough. So that's it from me in this one. Just a quick reminder that there's a link in the description to all of the mods covered in this video if you want to give them a try. And if there's any mods that you've been trying out recently that you've been enjoying, let me know in the comments section below. I always like to hear from you guys about mods you've been using recently that I might not be aware of. Lastly, I'd like to say a very special thank you to all of my existing Patreon subscribers for their support that allows us to commission mods, and for joining us on our whitelisted Patreon Project Zomboid server, where those mods are used to make some kick-ass setups for our players. If you want to join them, there's a link in the description. Thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you all in the next one.